It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Hey, it's that time for your weekly cup of coffee from Slumberland at the Lake. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
And Uncle Chris, as we get ready to bring in Halloween, we got no tricks, we got no treats, but we got some big local headlines, including, hey, Ballparks National grant has been reinstated.
Yeah, and this was a big deal. Remember the last election period? This was being slung by the candidates. It was really interesting, but finally get it figured out.
We'll talk about that. Plus, hey, some state champions in golf here locally. Plus, with the federal government shutdown, looks like there's some federal government programs, including SNAP benefits, that will be running out. We'll talk about what that means for Missouri homes here in November, that and a whole lot more. But first, this from Price and Randall Injury Attorneys and our friends right here at Slumberland.
It's the mega mattress sale at Slumberland.
Save big on a Sealy mattress.
No one sells Sealy for less.
Get this Sealy Posturepedic for just $5.99.
Plus, get 36-month financing with approved credit.
Only at Slumberland Furniture.
It's the mega sale at Slumberland.
Up to 50% off list.
Get a comfy Lazy Boy recliner for just $3.99.
Or a modern sofa for just $3.99.
And get the chair for $99.
Plus, a Sealy Queen mattress for just $3.99.
Only at Slumberland.
A cup of coffee as we wake up, in the car, or right here on Lake TV with Will and Chris. Kind of like driving, we do it every single day.
But we shouldn't do it while distracted. Did you know that drivers who text are 23 times more likely to be in a crash? So keep your eyes on the road and always remember to buckle up and put your phones down.
This Drive Safe, Boat Safe message brought to you by Price and Randall Injury Attorneys.
Now back to your cup of coffee with Will and Chris.
All right, so remember, drive safe, boat safe, especially when you got moisture on the road, which has been a lot here lately, right? Man,
Yeah.
The weather continues to change this fall season. Before you know it, Uncle Chris, we'll have snow on the ground.
Yeah, snow and ice. Got to be careful with that stuff.
Hey, any predictions? Is this going to be a quiet winter, or are we going to have a rigorous winter?
You know, it's funny because there's like two of those, what do they call those?
Almanacs?
The almanac.
Yeah.
One of them says it's going to be really cold and wet, and the other one says it's really going to be warm and dry. So it's like, who knows?
Groundhog has no say in the winter, does he?
Not really, no.
Okay, so I was
It
going
comes
to
out in
ask.
February
I was going to ask
something.
about the groundhog, but I guess that has nothing to do with it. Hey, so if you've been paying attention in the last couple of weeks, and hey, maybe you follow us on Facebook, did you see that the Lakeport Oasis Amusement Park, they had got their gondolas for the Ferris wheel delivered, right?
I did see
on
that.
site here at the
Yeah,
lake.
Absolutely. That's pretty cool. Big step forward, right?
Yeah, so we saw those, which is cool, big step there. And we were told we're expecting blasting sometime in October, right? However, I have not been able to confirm any blasting or send any changes there on site. And I'm also anticipating a visit to the shipping containers we've been promised that are here, right? That are housing, you know, all of the amusement park ride tracks and suspension and things of that nature. So still trying to coordinate that with Todd Schneider, with Skyview Partners, and Jeff Tagetthoff with Tagetthoff Development. And they are pretty good at communicating, but not seeing a lot of movement there. So as we round out in October, hoping to give everybody an update. But man, this time of the year, it's going to get colder, it's going to get wet, and so I don't know how much movement or how much stuff you'll see on site here during the winter.
Yeah. This week on the Lake TV Community Spotlight Show, we talk with Osage Beach Mayor Michael Harmison, and he updates us on all of that, on what's going on with the Oasis theme park, what's going on with the new outlet mall, and all the plans for that. He tells us all about that, so be sure to watch that show this week. Really interesting. We actually did an extended show because of all the information that he had to give us. So
And that's
watch that.
available right now.
Yep.
On Lake TV, and if you don't watch it when it runs right here on Lake TV, of course on Roku, Amazon Fire, Lake TV's YouTube, and of course on our website as well. And Facebook, you can link that as well. So hey, so other local news, we've been following the story of the Camdenton Airport, Lake Aviation, and the FBO lease agreement with the city of Camdenton. And there was a lease extension, there was no lease extension. Then we told you there was a lease extension for Lake Aviation, was going to be voted on last Tuesday. Well, it was, and it was approved officially by a 6-0 yes vote.
Wow.
And so the FBO lease agreement between the City of Camdenton and Lake Aviation has been extended from May of 2026 through December 31st, 2026, which will get them through that ever important, fast approaching September of 26 air show month, right? And Renee Kingston, the city administrator, says that the city does not have a time frame for a city employee to be on site, but they're still developing that job description at this time. She also says there will be no changes in day-to-day operations at this time, but it does absolutely appear that the city of Camdenton is planning the takeover of operations in 2027 at the Camdenton Airport, as we've kind of been alluding to and have kind of figured out the last few months as we've been following this and asking questions.
Yeah, and we sat down with the mayor and his staff a few weeks ago, actually probably a month or so ago, and they told us flat out, we think, the city is going to take over the airport again because we think it will be a money producer for the city, which would obviously be good for residents and everything there. So the plan moves forward, 6-0 vote apparently. All looks like it's on track. It's been a bumpy road, but hopefully it'll smooth out as it moves forward.
Yeah, that air show is very important. So good to see that we are going to ensure one more air show, and that planning for that is already underway. So hey, something else in Camdenton, actually further closer to Max Creek area, Ballparks National, their major expansion resumes after their federal grant was reinstated. You saw that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about it during the last election cycle. This was a big thing. There was some mudslinging going on. Ballparks National, if you remember, was almost done with the first of a 3-field expansion because they had a $2.7 million federal grant provided through the Missouri Department of Economic Development. That grant was frozen, right? But now after a year and a half of delays, that complex at the Lake of the Ozarks says their grant has been reinstated and construction has resumed. So this is a really great thing for Ballparks National and for the local community. So once it's completed, the 3 new fields will allow the complex to host more tournaments, draw older age groups. The current ball fields are suited for up to 12-year-olds. And so these older ball players, offenses at that distance would just be a home run derby, basically, right? So 2 of the 3 fields will have a unique multi-use design that will allow Ballparks National to expand it into hosting other sports as well, like lacrosse and soccer. So not only are they going to build these fields so that older players, and there's a lot more older players than younger players,
Sure.
I think, but you'll be able to do other sports. The grant freeze, when they did this, it essentially caused a 2-year delay for the completion of the project. It was originally slated to be done last year in 2024. Now it should be done next year. And the whole reason for this was politics, apparently. If you remember when Jeff Vernetti, he's the former manager of Ballparks National, when he ran for state representative last year in 2024, his opponent, the incumbent Lisa Thomas, began alleging financial mismanagement when it came to this grant and the funds. The Missouri DED terminated the grant, but the company asked for a reinstatement in the fall of last year. A lengthy third-party review of all the financials was done. BPN remained consistent in their stance that, nothing was done. It was, if there were any errors, it was all by mistakes. And it would seem with everything they've gone in and looked at and done that was the case. The errors that were made were just mistakes made along the way. And so they've reinstated those funds. So the growth will continue, and this will be a big move forward for Ballparks National and for more people coming to the lake.
Yeah, great deal for them, and we kind of thought that might be the case. And you remember the incumbent, Dr. Lisa Thomas, not only did she claim this mismanagement of funds, but she spent thousands of dollars smearing the name of Jeff Vernetti, making some incredibly bold claims about him personally, and this would 100% exonerate State Representative Vernetti from the claims that she made. I did reach out to Dr. Lisa Thomas and sent her the article and said, this would obviously exonerate State Rep Vernetti from the things you claimed about him. Do you have any follow-up, or would you be willing to apologize to him? And of course, she didn't reply to me there. But sometimes politics gets nasty and it gets personal. And so it's good to see here that sometimes in politics, the good guy wins. And here, Ballparks National is the one who wins. And Jeff Vernetti, that's a big deal for him because, man, she really went after him personally. And not just, his involvement at Ballparks National, but his businesses and many other ways. So this was a complete exoneration for him, and I would be interested to see if she had anything to say about that at that point, because there is rumor that, hey, she may be rerunning again for state rep. Of course, that was the 2023 election cycle for 2024, and there will be another election cycle later this year, I believe. Is it 2 years or every 2 years?
Every two, yep.
So, you know, we're going to be getting close.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had Vernetti on this show a couple months ago, and he said he is running again, and says you just have to prepare for that. You're always preparing for the next election because it's every 2 years. But that is good news for Ballpark National. Good news for Vernetti, too, because it kind of clears, you know, any of the bad air around that whole thing, and does not make Lisa Thomas look very good, I don't think.
No, and he's been active since he's been instated, or since he was elected and sworn in as state rep, and done a lot of good. And so I imagine that he would be reelected. Of course, time will tell. Hey, something that happened with the city of Osage Beach, which if you've got kiddos and you love to go to the park, well, this is a cool one for you. And Osage Beach is upgrading a playground at Peanic Park, something that they actually opened up to the citizens, right? The citizens of Osage Beach have chosen the new playground after a Peanic Park playground community survey was done, and it was from some unexpected cost savings, the city said. And that stuff is not cheap, and so they gave the city 3 different options, and these are pretty impressive playgrounds, right? The vote was open from the 8th through the 13th of October.
Did you vote?
I did not. I didn't feel right not living in the city of Osage Beach, although we do frequent the city of Osage Beach parks. But they got 744 responses, which I thought was impressive, and looks like the results are in.
Yeah, so Playground 2, they have the 3 different playground suggestions. Playground 2 comes out on top, 56.6% of the votes. Playground number 1, 37.5%, and playground number 3, 5.9%. And they said, we're excited to move forward with a community's choice. Can't wait to see this new addition come to life. Stay tuned for updates on the next steps. Just another step in what has been a pretty amazing last few years for the city of Osage Beach. All I have to say, Mayor Michael Harmison has really done a pretty amazing job at getting new stuff done, getting things done in Osage Beach. I mean, this is one of them. The theme park, the outlet mall, and dozens of other things going on. It's been pretty spectacular.
And I'll give some love and credit to Eric Gregory, who's the Parks and Rec manager for the city of Osage Beach. He's done some huge things, and you know, this was one of their big deals, Holly Jarvis. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the city of Osage Beach has been really active, and there's been times that we've been critical and asked questions, and so
that's our job.
We'll give credit when credit is due, and they are continuing on an upward trajectory, you know, and not just like with big development, but things they're doing in the city for, you know, the locals.
You ever notice how, I mean, a lot of these things happen in Osage Beach, some of them in Lake Ozark. Lake Ozark's a lot smaller. But you don't really hear about many of these things happening in Camdenton for whatever reason. I don't know why that is, or if that's good or bad, but most of them seem to be happening in the Osage Beach area.
Hey, and I did see for the city of Lake Ozark, the Bagnell Dam Strip Association was working on another beautification process and cleanup of the strip. We're working on some new plants and shrubs and trash removal, which always does a huge service and looks so much better. But we have been, I will say, we have been getting press releases regularly from City Administrator Renee Kingston, which has been nice, but we'll keep people posted. And yeah, it'd be hard to compete with what the city of Osage Beach has been doing lately.
They've been rocking it.
All right, hey, how about the Eldon Lady Mustangs, Uncle Chris, huh?
How about that? State champions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we must have some pretty good golfers in this area, because it was just a couple years ago the Osage women won the state championship in their class, and now Eldon, the ladies, win the state championship. How about that?
Yeah, Class 2 state championship. Team members are Haven Evers, Lily Henley, Tinley Hull, Jordan Neely, and Callie Weeberry, and the team is coached by Matt Frey and Michael Cummings. Congrats to the Lady Eldon Mustangs. Pretty incredible, right? I would be afraid to go out there. Sounds like these girls are pretty good. And then right down on Highway 5, first female all-state golfer in Versailles program history goes to Kiana Mims.
Yeah.
And this season she started by breaking the 9-hole scoring record 3 different times. She became the first Lady Tiger to be named the OHC Individual Champion as well as Conference Player of the Year. And then she became the second player to qualify for the Girls State Tournament in program history. And once there, she ended up finishing 10th and became the first All-State golfer in Versailles girls golf history. Pretty special. And Coach Kyle Nalowski said, we're very blessed to be part of her journey this year, and it's only just the beginning. Congrats to Kiana Mems and the Versailles Lady Tigers. So some great golf going on. I know volleyball season is rounding out. Osage ladies had a great year. Eldon played Monday in the district championship against Elias. I didn't see how that went. Camdenton had a pretty solid year. So some great local sports. I get so fixated on high school football, right? But there's so many.
We tend to forget
Impressive activities and sports that are going on.
And the individual, Eldon girls won the state championship, and Haven Evers finished second overall in the individual, and Lily Henley from Eldon finished 11th. So that is just so incredible, so awesome. Congratulations to the coaches, to the players, everything else. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's always great when you get to celebrate that at the end of all the hard work and effort put in. All right, so let's move on from high school sports. We'll tell you more about football here later, but a couple other local headlines. A Camden County contractor has been sentenced on home fraud charges.
Yeah, this was interesting. So the story says contractor in Camden County received a suspended execution of sentence on felony charges of deceptive business practice and stealing in connection with a home remodeling scheme that defrauded his customers. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway says Brandon Ward, the owner of Insight Contractors, entered his guilty pleas earlier this month in exchange for the suspended sentences and in order to pay more than $61,000 in restitution to the victims and being put on probation for 5 years. Ward had been accused of taking payment up front in 2022 for the work before performing minimal work and then abandoning the projects. And unfortunately you hear about this happening, right? Well, they caught this guy and then they it seems to me they kind of let him off, right? They give him this suspended execution of sentence when he pleads guilty. I don't really get that.
I do wonder, right? In an instance or a situation where you have defrauded your customers, for $61,000, if you do become incarcerated, how would the restitution take place?
Yeah.
And they feel like it's not a dangerous crime in regards to putting somebody in jeopardy, and if you're willing to pay it back. Maybe that's why it's a suspended sentence with probation, meaning if you do this again, obviously it's going to be a long, long time. Yeah. But you do wonder if somebody has a crime when it includes, fraud, stealing money, tax evasion. When you're incarcerated, you're not going to be able to do a lot when it comes to restitution, right?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And Hanaway's office also says anyone else defrauded by Ward, so there might be more out there that they don't know about, call the Attorney General Consumer Protection Section, file a complaint there, because if there is more, they want to make him pay you back. So that's the way it should be. You're probably right. You can't make restitution if you're sitting in prison.
And with jails and prisons so overrun and overcrowded, you're probably going to start, if they haven't already, get selective. Like dangerous criminals, you got to keep locked up. So anyway, all right, hey, government shutdown since October 1, right? The federal government has been shut down, which we hear that, and a lot of us don't know exactly what that means. Well, Congress still deeply divided over a path to fund the federal agencies, and a pile of deadlines near that November 1st date are getting closer, which means many U.S. households will be at a risk of major hardship. Programs are running out of money. Thousands of federal employees are set to miss out on their first full paycheck this week. And although Trump did pay active duty military members out of other accounts earlier this month, there's going to be a lot that will happen as of November 1st, right? SNAP food aid. 40 million people currently rely on this program. Head Start for childcare would be cut and is already seeing cuts. WIC nutrition assistance, which is 7 million women rely on. Essential air service, military pay, federal civilian paychecks, and this is an issue that is bipartisan and will certainly impact every American in some way, shape, or form. And that's not even to mention that open enrollment date of November 1st is rapidly approaching. And if you think that the insurance agencies are unsure about the federal government getting this resolved, that will absolutely cause your premiums to skyrocket. So What does this mean for the average Missourian?
Right, what a mess. So roughly 650,000 Missourians will not receive the SNAP benefits for the month of November due to the shutdown. And this is because the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is entirely funded by the federal government, okay? So the October benefits were able to be distributed because they apparently had that, set aside beforehand. Not true for the month of November. So House Minority Leader Ashley Ahn of Kansas City, a Democrat, said losing this resource in November is going to be devastating for Missouri families. Some, that's for sure. Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Laughlin, she's a Republican, agreed that Missouri cannot take on this budgeted expense. She said, I think SNAP benefits for many families are critical to the health of the family. And all of that is true, but there's a dark truth behind all of this, that a lot of those benefits have been going to non-Americans for the last many years. And there's a lot of billions of dollars that Americans should have been getting that have been going to illegal aliens. And some think that's fine, some think that's horrible, but it's kind of coming out in the wash of all this.
Yeah, Newsmax reported this week that 56.9% of all illegal immigrants are on food stamps, which means that is a lot of money.
Wow.
And in regards to the federal government shutdown, I would imagine there would be more in the reserves or other areas to tap into to move around these essential funds to get them to the people that need it the most. But you can see there's been a lot of resources already exercised with the amount of illegal immigrants currently in America and the benefits they've been receiving, whether you like that or not. Simple fact, when you look at this, is going to cause a lot of hardworking, tax-paying American citizens to feel this in the month of November. And so it'll be interesting to see. And as of the day of recording the show, we're almost a month into the government shutdown. And what began at the early part of October seemed to be something that a couple days, right, a week. Well, now we're looking at November is going to be a very dark time for Americans potentially, especially when you look at the holidays upcoming.
And I saw that one of the biggest governmental employee union came out a couple of days ago and said, you need to end the shutdown. And that's generally a Democratic thing. And they're getting on the Democrats to start voting to end the shutdown. So I think there's going to be more pressure on the Democrats to do that. Some of the numbers, budget numbers, as I mentioned, average of 655,000 Missourians in over 323,000 households get these SNAP benefits. That's a lot of people. And the overview said the average monthly SNAP benefit was just under $400 per household. Wow. $400 per month is the SNAP benefit. That's a lot of money when you're talking about 655,000 people.
Wow, indeed. All right, another thing I touched on that would be cut or would lose funding is Head Start, right? Which is childcare. And that's something that is hitting the nation hard and has for quite some time. And there is a cool local event coming up, and it's a crisis to collaboration tackling the childcare challenge community panel and workshop, which aims to build local childcare solutions, okay? In the Lake of the Ozarks region, the shortage of accessible, affordable, and high-quality childcare continues to impact families, employers, and early childcare professionals. To help address this challenge, local leaders, educators, employers, and residents are invited to Crisis to Collaboration, a free public panel, lunch, and interactive workshop organized by Dr. Ashley Allen Brown with the University of Missouri Extension. She says childcare challenges are taking a measurable toll on both families and the economy in our local communities. In April 2025, Missouri Economic Indicator estimates that a total annual business and tax loss due to childcare issues in Camden, Miller, and Morgan County exceed $13 million, while collectively, the average family in these three communities faces the loss of around $11,000 a year that they pay or fork over in childcare cost. This timely program is the beginning of building community-driven solutions together, and it's Wednesday, November 12th, from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Zach Wheat American Legion Post in Sunrise Beach. Check-in and coffee begin at 10:30, and it's a really cool event. They've got some panel members that'll be speaking, talking about what the community can do together to find a solution and combat this, because it's very real. Again, that's the Crisis to Collaboration Tackling the Child Care Challenge Community Panel and Workshop on Wednesday, November 12th, which is a really cool event. Shout out to Dr. Ashley Allen Brown.
Yeah.
Como Connect partnered big with them in the Lake West Chamber of Commerce. So really cool there. And speaking of cool, we were at one of the coolest events of the year, the CADV annual brunch last Wednesday. How about it?
That was pretty good. I got my fill of good food, that's for sure. Oh my gosh. But, you know, obviously the whole reason is to help Citizens Against Domestic Violence. What a great program that is, helps so many people. Unfortunately, you know, I mean, we would wish they, you know, didn't have enough work that they would go out of business, but they stay very busy. Great cause, but we had a great time. You and your wife were looking pretty good out there, man.
Yeah, we were dressed a full part. We had our crew there. Sierra Smith did a great job getting our table decked out. It was really cool. It was a sock hop thing. They had over 700 people in the room. There were 37 restaurants that gave their time, their product, their staff, set up, donating to the cause, and you got to go around and taste whatever you wanted. It was a smorgasbord. It was all you can eat. I'm still recovering. They had volunteers from the Idiots Club, Lake Career Technical Center, culinary arts, law enforcement, and health science students, ITW and Coles. Just an amazing group of volunteers, Sheree Keeley says, and it's still coming in, but they have raised $179,000 so far. And the live auction raised $26,000.
Wow.
Big shout out to Rick Bryant.
Yeah.
No one can do those things quite like he does. And there's not a big event that you'll go to and he's not donating his time and his gifts to. $26,000 in an hour he's able to do like nobody else can. Studio T images, photography, they're capturing every shot. Stacy Johnson and Nathan Bechtold, amazing MCs with Lake Expo. Phenomenal job, and they wanted us to announce that next year they're moving to the Lodge of Four Seasons, Campana Hall, because it's getting bigger, right? 700 people. You're gonna wanna mark your calendar. It's Wednesday, October 26th, and the theme will be Buckles and Boots for Bravery. Gonna be pretty cool. So mark your calendar, and if the spread was any indication, I know I'm gonna see you there, right?
I love
Is there a
that.
better spread?
I don't think there is. I think that's the best food event at the lake. I think that's amazing.
And $180,000
Yeah.
in counting. Pretty special. And shout out to the lawyer, Vantine, Barbara Vantine, the title sponsor. She's been awesome and so involved, and so shout out to her as well. So hey, before we go, got to tell you real quick, Osage, what a win Friday, right? Comeback Kings, right? Brady Clark does it again. 31-yard field goal. They'll be on bye. Eldon going to be at Hallsville. That'll be a tough matchup. They lost by 10 earlier this year. And Camdenton at Jeff City. It's district playoff season. We're going to be trick-or-treating, of course. But then we look at Mizzou, right? Oh, boy. Tough loss at Vandy.
Tough loss, and they lost their quarterback to an injury, so the rest of the season is going to be kind of iffy.
Kirby Moore loves to do that.
Yeah.
Loves to get his quarterbacks injured, from Brady Cook to Bo Pribula. We'll put that one on Kirby Moore. Good luck to Matt Zollers, and man, it's just tough. Be interesting to see. I did want to give an update on our best seat in the house. Slumberland recliner giveaway. Man, Nick Reese, where's this guy come from the last 3 weeks?
He's been rocking it, man.
Congrats, you won 2 weeks worth of gift cards last week with the tie carried over. Nick is our week 8 winner. He got 10 games right, and we had 8 people tie in second place. You, Alma, Andrew, Spencer, Kevin Hornick, you guys all up there, close in those standings. And then how about those Chiefs? You said you didn't love the way they looked?
I didn't. I thought they looked flat again in the first half, but, you know, they're so good. Even when they look flat, they win by 3 touchdowns. Going to be tougher this week. They go to Buffalo, play the Bills. That's going to be a tough one. And that's a really big game for the playoffs. The winner of that game more than likely will host in the playoffs when they meet again, you know, in the playoffs. So that's a big game.
I think Chiefs will win that one.
Do you?
Yeah,
I think the Bills might win that.
I think the Chiefs get the dub on the road at Buffalo. All right, and I want your predictions. Closest prediction, 2, that Bills and Chiefs match up this Sunday. You're going to win a Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce Hallmark Christmas ornament.
Wow.
Who doesn't want those? They connected for 100 yards and a score in Monday night's game. And before we go, how about our weekly scripture and devotional? Easy to get caught up in our past, but just a reminder, my friends, do not remember the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. That's Isaiah 43, verses 18 and 19. Love it. Keeping the main thing the main thing. Thank you guys for watching this week's Cup of Coffee from Slumberland at the Lake. Until next week, goodbye and God bless.